October 24th, 2007. Steve Jobs unveils the iPhone to thunderous applause. In Helsinki, Nokia executives watch the live stream. Their company controls 49.4% of the global mobile phone market, 435 million devices sold that year. Market cap was $150 billion. They were untouchable. 6 years later, Microsoft bought Nokia's phone division for $7.2 billion. By 2016, Nokia phones had vanished entirely. Nearly $140 billion in shareholder value were erased. Yet this was not about the iPhone. After this one decision, everything collapsed. What was the mistake that killed Nokia? Let's go back to before the fall. In early 2007, Nokia wasn't just the market leader, it was untouchable. The company held 49.4% of global mobile phone market share. That year alone, Nokia sold 435 million devices. Its market capitalization stood at $150 billion. Nokia phones were everywhere. The indestructible build, the snake game, that ringtone everyone recognized. These weren't just products, but cultural artifacts. Then came June 29th, 2007. Steve Jobs unveiled the iPhone. Industry analysts watched closely. So did Nokia's leadership team in Helsinki. According to former executives who later spoke to tech journalists, the internal response was dismissive. One recalled the prevailing sentiment. It was a luxury toy for Americans with too much money. Nokia's engineers examined the capacitive touchscreen technology and noted they had experimented with similar concepts years earlier. The $599 price point seemed laughable. The lack of a physical keyboard? A fatal flaw. Many blame the iPhone for what happened next, but that's only part of the story. But there's something more to Nokia than just competition. By 2007, Nokia had become a bureaucratic giant. It had about 60,000 employees across dozens of countries. According to reports from former engineers, bringing a new feature to market could take 18 to 24 months, an eternity in mobile technology. Decisions required approval from multiple layers of management. Innovation had slowed to a crawl. Yet the real problem ran deeper than bureaucracy. Nokia had built its smartphone empire on Symbian, a mobile operating system it co-owned with other manufacturers. Symbian powered Nokia's devices throughout the 2000s and commanded significant market share. At its peak in 2006, Symbian held over 65% of the smartphone market. But Symbian was designed in the 1990s. Its architecture was rigid. Developers complained it was difficult to work with. The codebase had grown bloated and outdated. Engineers inside Nokia knew this. Some reportedly pushed for a complete overhaul or even abandoning Symbian entirely. But Nokia had invested billions. The sunk cost was both financial and psychological. Something else was happening. While Nokia debated internally, Google released Android as an open-source platform in 2008. By 2010, Android was gaining serious momentum. Samsung, HTC, and Motorola were shipping Android devices. The platform was free. It was flexible. Developers were building apps for it at an accelerating rate. Nokia watched this unfold. Yet the company remained committed to Symbian, pouring resources into an operating system the market was already rejecting. Then came February 11th, 2011. Nokia's new chief executive officer, Stephen Alope, sent an internal memo that leaked almost immediately. He called Nokia a burning platform and announced a radical shift. Nokia would abandon Symbian. But instead of adopting Android, the free, open platform with growing developer support, Elope made a different choice. Nokia would bet everything on Windows Phone in an exclusive partnership with Microsoft. This was the decision that sealed Nokia's fate. According to reports from inside Nokia, many engineers opposed the move. They saw the numbers. Windows Phone held less than 2% of the smartphone market. Its development environment was unfamiliar. Its app ecosystem was nearly non-existent. But Elope, a former Microsoft executive, believed Microsoft's brand and resources could compete with Apple and Google. He was wrong. And this was not just a bad bet. It was Nokia choosing a dying platform over the one that would dominate the industry. To be fair, the logic seemed sound at the time. Microsoft had deep pockets. Windows was a trusted brand. The partnership promised marketing support and integration with Microsoft's services. But the market did not care about logic. Then everything accelerated. Developers, already frustrated with Symbian's complexity, had zero interest in learning Windows Phone's framework when Android and iOS offered audiences 10 times larger. By the end of 2011, Nokia's global smartphone market share had collapsed to 16%, down from 29% just a year earlier. The decline continued. In 2012, Nokia had 5% market share. Nokia launched the Lumia line, beautifully designed Windows phones with excellent cameras. Tech reviewers praised the hardware. Consumers stayed away. The app gap was insurmountable. Instagram did not arrive on Windows Phone until 2013, years after iOS and Android. Snapchat never came at all. Major banking apps were absent. Popular games launched months or years late, if ever. Nokia's hardware was irrelevant without software. In September 2013, Microsoft announced the acquisition of Nokia's entire phone division. The purchase price was $7.2 billion. To put that in perspective, Nokia's market capitalization had once exceeded $150 billion. The sale price was less than 5% of its peak valuation. The timing couldn't have been worse. But Nokia had more things to worry about. The human cost was staggering. Between 2011 and 2013, Nokia laid off over 40,000 employees globally. Factories in Finland, Germany, and Hungary shut down. The city of Oulu, Finland, where Nokia had major operations, saw unemployment spike dramatically. Entire ecosystems collapsed alongside Nokia. Component suppliers lost their largest customer. App developers who had invested in Symbian saw their work become worthless. Accessory manufacturers found themselves with inventory no one wanted. Nearly all tech ecosystems in Nokia's orbit were coming under fire. Symbian, once powering hundreds of millions of devices, was officially discontinued in 2014. Nokia's mapping service, Here Maps, was eventually sold to German automakers in 2015. By 2015, Microsoft itself had begun laying off former Nokia employees. The Windows Phone experiment was failing. Then, in 2016, Microsoft wrote off nearly the entire Nokia acquisition as a loss. The brand that had defined mobile communication for a generation was gone. Microsoft discontinued the Nokia name on mobile devices. The Nokia phone was dead. At the heart of this collapse was something people still misunderstand. This wasn't about hardware. Nokia's engineering was world-class. The Lumia 1020's camera was years ahead of competitors, but hardware was no longer the game. The smartphone era was about ecosystems, developer networks, and app availability. Nokia had become excellent at solving yesterday's problems. Today, Nokia exists as a network infrastructure company. It provides 5G equipment to telecom carriers worldwide. The business is profitable, but invisible to consumers. In 2024, Nokia's network division reported steady revenue, but no one carries a Nokia phone. The irony is almost unbearable. Nokia's research labs had pioneered touchscreen technology in the early 2000s. Nokia engineers developed early smartphone concepts. The company had experimented with mobile internet, app stores, and advanced cameras, all before the iPhone. Nokia invented much of what would define the smartphone era, yet it failed to capitalize on any of it. If Nokia had chosen Android in 2011 instead of Windows Phone, the company could have survived. Samsung proved an Android strategy worked, rising to become the world's largest smartphone manufacturer by partnering with Google's platform. Nokia had the brand recognition, the manufacturing scale, and the engineering talent. It chose the wrong partner, and the pattern extends beyond Nokia. Kodak invented digital photography in 1975, but clung to film. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2012. BlackBerry dominated mobile email and owned 50% of the US smartphone market in 2009, then dismissed touchscreens as a gimmick. By 2016, its market share had fallen below 0.1%. Blockbuster had 9,000 stores and the infrastructure to dominate streaming, but refused to adapt. Netflix destroyed it. The lesson is clear. Market dominance creates institutional inertia. Inertia is fatal when technology shifts. Today's giants, Apple, Samsung, Google, face similar pressures. Apple's App Store monopoly is under regulatory attack. Samsung's dependence on Android leaves it vulnerable. Google itself faces antitrust scrutiny that could fracture its ecosystem. The question isn't whether they'll face disruption, it's whether they'll recognize the threat in time. History doesn't repeat, but it certainly echoes. Nokia's engineers saw the future. They warned leadership. The warnings were ignored. Executive hubris, sunk cost fallacy, and institutional momentum overruled technical reality. That was the mistake that killed Nokia. And it could happen to any of them.